And benvenuti, fellas and bellas all over the world. Welcome to another episode of the Napoli Rant. I am Raf Biz, joined by my co-host, the Vicar of Vesuvius, Rafa Rispo.
What's going on, Raf Biz? How are you, my friend?
I am well, sir. Thank you, and welcome back to you, and welcome to all our listeners on our audio podcast, as well as our live chat. Let's get this rant on the road. Napoli draw Fiorentina this weekend 0-0 in the Artemio Franchi this weekend, which, according to Football Italia, means that not a single team in Serie A has a 100% record since 2012-2013.
Wow, that's an interesting stat.
Interesting.
I guess in every season since then, there's been a team at week 3 with a 100% record. We could have done it this weekend, but didn't turn out to be that way. But we'll talk about that, Ralph.
Definitely. Which kind of shows just how competitive this league is getting. So, I mean,
it sure is.
Yeah, lots of things to look forward to. But on to the game, guys. We're gonna start this week's episode with our defense. So we're dubbing this segment "The D Gets an A." Our back line, including our goalie Rafa, this week all got rated 7.5 or above, with the exception of Mario Rui at a 6.9, even though I think he had a decent game, but he was manhandled just a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Let me ask you, Rafa, was this kind of like a part of like lack of maybe quality chances of Fiorentina, or did the D kind of show up from Napoli, or was it maybe a little bit of both? I don't know.
You know, I'm gonna go ahead and say a little bit of both. I think Fiorentina showed up when it comes to their offense. I think they were a little bit lacking in the final third, but they definitely got some chances. You know, to say they had no chances or little chances was, is probably not very accurate. I think they got a fair amount of chances.
Sure, 5 shots on goal, I believe. Yeah,
5 shots on goal, a few good saves by Medet. You know, hey, and I tweeted, anytime Medet gets near that ball, I shake a little bit. It's a little scary, but all in all, he did pretty well. As far as the defense goes, I think they handled their business quietly. I think a lot more, though, Fiorentina were not very sharp in the final third when it came to, the finishing. You had the late miss by, I think it was Barak.
I think was their best chance, right?
Right. They had Sotil, who missed the chance too. That could have been a little better. So sloppy in the final third from Fiorentina, but at the same time, I think an A for the defense is a smart. It's a good enough grade for the defense. Mario Rui, a little bodied, but a 6.9 is not a bad rating. It's on the cusp of 7, obviously. Kim, for me, was outstanding quietly. I think
I agree
quietly. Yeah. But him and Rachmani, they seem a little more comfortable with each other back there. Di Lorenzo always kind of pulls up with a good performance. So yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, a little bit of both, but I think it's fair to say that Napoli's defense really did take care of any kind of pressure from Fiorentina.
No,
it's not easy being away from home and in an environment that they were in. No,
that was certainly a hostile environment. We'll get to that in the main rant today.
I was proud of Medet with some of the. There was one shot where he kind of bobbled in front of him, but the defense swept it up nice, or maybe he ended up grabbing it.
Yeah.
But you've got to catch the ball as a goalkeeper when it's an easy enough grab. And I think he got a little more comfortable as the game went on, and he did pretty well.
I agree. Aside from that little flop, that he had when the ball came out, he did all right. Yeah. But I just don't think, Rafa, that, Fiorentina, they most of their shots were coming from that left side, and to be honest, they weren't that hard to stop. Right. So I think overall, they had their chances. They were on their counterattack, but I think the defense showed up. I think that Kim had a lot of aerial wins, a lot of aerial duels that he won yesterday. He had a lot of interceptions. He had a bunch of clearances. We saw him running forward again. He was definitely nominated for Beast of the Match this week again. I think that's like 2 weeks in a row. So he's going to get his soon. But it's just good to see that pair up with Rahmani working, even though I feel Rahmani had a number of giveaways yesterday, but all in all, it really didn't lead to anything. Yeah, the refs too.
Yeah. It looks like they're getting a little bit comfortable with each other, so that's good. That's good news, because that was one of the big question marks of this new team is how will the defense fare?
Those refs too. Ufa, Gerard Cafaro says, and Daniel said, I was waiting the entire game to see the refs start a fight with a player. Yes. Was that the one he was pushing people off? Was that the
Yeah.
But I say that guy Tano. Well, but good job on the defense yesterday. I was satisfied. But on the opposite end of the field, we're going to talk about the front three fronting. Now, what's kind of in everybody's mind right now, Rafa, at least the Napoli tifos, we had a disallowed goal by Victor. We had kind of an unforgivable missed header by Lozano. And then Kvara apparently just being tamed by the Brazilian right back Dodo from Fiorentina is the fan, and some fans are kind of disappointed with their lack of goals. But is their disappointment valid, Rafa, or is there something else to this?
No, their disappointment is valid. I wasn't very thrilled with the offense yesterday. I did think that Osimhen played a little bit better than he did in the first two. Difference being that he produced goals in the first two, and he almost came away with a goal this time. Obviously, there were a lot of people that were confused by the rule. At first, so was I, and my household was a little upset with the rule until Patrick Kendrick, the commentator for yesterday, did mention that it is a rightly called offside, and that's when when Patrick Kendrick speaks, you listen, So
you do listen, right?
You listen, man. I kind of tend to go with him instead of my dad saying it was a bullshit call. I don't know if you guys saw the Napoli rant Twitter in halftime yesterday, but if you want to scroll down, check it out. My dad thinks everybody's against Napoli, which Napoli contro tutti, it makes sense. But sometimes when the right call is made, you need to pump the brakes and take a look at it. Well, why? Why is it? The explanation is that in an offside call, there's always the goalkeeper that's considered a defender, but nobody really pays any attention to the rule that the goalkeeper is part of the offside decision. So you need to be basically it was a right call. So remember that Osimhen was in front of the keeper, but there was still another defender there keeping him offside. So it was the right call. As it was going on live, you kind of felt a little hard done by.
Because it was by centimeters, Rafa. I mean, it wasn't really, really
much.
Close.
It wasn't by much.
Really close.
But then that header, for Lozano, which, and again, I think Lozano didn't play too bad either.
Right.
But he wasn't very productive. That header should have gone in. He should,
or at least on target.
At least on target, he should bury that. And not for nothing, that was a really that left a sour taste in everybody's mouth. It just wasn't to be.
This poor guy.
He can't really catch a break, to be honest.
Can't catch a break.
At the same time, you got to put those on target. You just do.
Leave Chucky alone.
I love Chucky Lozano, man. Did you guys see? You see the new Mexico kits, the away kits? They're please look it up. The World Cup away kits for Mexico. They're
Pumas?
Gorgeous. No, they're Adidas. I'm getting one with Chucky on it. I am doing it. It's so nice, dude. It's so nice. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I wanted to kind of segue from that Lozano header to everybody kind of jumping on Kvaratskhelia back for being contained by Dodo. Now, Dodo is a player I had on my short list for my fantasy team. I wanted that guy on my team. I really rate this guy. And he just kind of really bossed Kvaratskhelia yesterday.
Yeah, man.
However, that was a great ball sent in by Kvaratskhelia. And I feel like Kvara sent in a few good balls. I also feel like Lozano sent in a few good balls. It just wasn't meant to be. They didn't produce. But that was a Kvaratskhelia ball. So everybody has to. I feel again, third match of his Serie A career. He already produced 4 goals for us, 3 from the hitting the net, 1 as an assist. I think people need to pump the brake. Like people say, pump the brakes on Kvaratskhelia because he could get figured out. I think people need to pump the brakes when it comes to criticizing Kvaratskhelia just from yesterday's game. It was a very tough team. Let's not forget that Antonin Barak, who played against Napoli with Verona in week 1, he played 24 minutes against Napoli off the bench, was signed 3 days ago and had some intel for Fiorentina on Napoli. I'm not saying they didn't do their own homework, but Badak already played against this team and kind of knew what to expect. So I think there's something to be said about that too. But all in all, I it was disappointing from the offense, but it just these are away hostile environment, as we're going to talk about later. It's normal for a team with quality to come away with nothing, goal wise, but we came away with a point, so that's the most important.
Right. I'll read a couple comments off real quick. Kensha, for they say Osimhen was too isolated. Yeah, we saw bits and pieces of this where Osimhen didn't have maybe kind of an outlet pass. We saw a few of those long balls like we saw last year. So yeah, we definitely need to make sure that Osimhen's getting supported, at least an outlet pass, something where then he can continue to make his run and accept the pass and score a goal. I do agree on that. Salvatore De Brita saying disappointment is valid, but it needs to spread out equally. Not just Kvara or Victor or Chucky. It was everyone. People can't pick and choose who to hate after a game like that. Agreed. Blame everybody. I think everybody looked a little sluggish.
Yeah, and
hate's a big word.
Hate is such a big word. This is match 3. Everybody needs to kind of pump the brakes, calm down. Match 3, it could have been a lot worse. We're even if we had won the match yesterday, right? What would that leave us? 9 points. Okay, fine. Twice in the past 5 years, 6 years, we've gone 8 wins straight and came away with nothing. So it would have been nice to be the leader of the pack. You start to break away, but at the same time, you have 5 other teams that would have been behind us 2 points. You know what I mean? It's not like you can't dictate a season in the first 3. You have to go at least a quarter, 9, 10 games.
Agreed.
You have to get some Champions League out of the way. You got to really kind of use your bench the way that they're intended to use it. Let's not forget, and we'll touch on the bench later.
Right.
But let's not forget that these guys just came here, and not everyone is fully match ready. Not even though we had a friendly against Juve Stabia and won 3-0, and all the bench scored. You have to actually integrate still. And they didn't have the luxury of training with us all summer long. So, we got to, there will be matches like this later on where our bench is going to come through for us. Watch.
I agree. We kind of predicted a slow start, even though we were excited for all those goals and the performance they put on the first 2 games. It was above our expectations because I think all of us kind of thought that maybe the season will start off a little slow. I thought a little baño de humildad against Fiorentina probably was a good thing. It's good to expose some of our weaknesses so we can tweak things in training. I like this from Danilo in Italy. I'll say it in English just so everybody can understand. He said, he wrote in Italian to us that Dodo said that the next game, Kvara should pay the ticket to watch the game.
Well, he's not high on Kvara. He wants Kvara to sit is what he's trying to say, I guess, right? I mean, Dodo was saying
like
I see.
down,
Dodo wants him to sit down.
I think Dodo was handling.
He was handling him pretty well. He was fouled. And listen, Kvaratskhelia is going to get fouled, like Lozano gets fouled. He gets fouled a lot. He draws a lot of fouls, cards, which is beneficial to us. And I don't expect anything less from Kvaratskhelia. He's going to get banged up. I did say that in a few past shows. He's going to get banged up.
Greek Calcio, like best friends now.
Greek Calcio is a new friend of ours. So that's he's cool. Yeah.
So if you're Greek, Malaga, and you want to know the Greek players, follow Greek Calcio. He's a good dude, man, and he has a nice show. I watched it a few times.
That's good.
Going there. All right, let's move on. There's a lot of comments in the chat right now, but moving on to the middle of the field, guys. Mid got mid. Remember last week we did this, guys? We were talking about new modern slang terminology and how mid means like not so
mid
good.
Means bad. No,
mid means bad.
Yeah.
All right.
And here's the
cool.
thing. I got to go to my kids to ask, what's mid? What is mid?
What's mid?
Mid is terrible. Here I am thinking
terrible.
mid is so. Mid is supposedly terrible. So that's how today's slang works. And week 1, we talked about how the mid was not so mid. Everybody was kind of, a little bit worried about our midfield. No Fabian now. What's going to happen? And it really bossed the first 2 games. But this one, the mid, did it get mid, Ralph?
I mean, well, here's the deal. Anguissa was given man of the match by Foot Mop, number 1. So I had a great game. Lobo being kind of swarmed in that midfield.
Yes.
What's his name? Amrabat. Really handled him. He handled that whole team. Amrabat. If anything, he would have been. If this was a Fiorentina pod, I would have gave him the beast without a doubt. Zielinski, I thought was decent. Some people was giving him a hard time. I think he pressed forward. I think he was in on most of the attack, at least in the first half. But then he gets taken out in the 61st minute. So it's really hard to kind of. I don't know if it's fair to judge him, but I think he wasn't his best game, but I think he had his pretty decent game. I think he really did try to help, and that Fiorentina pressing was hard. But for you, Rafa, how did the midfield fare out?
I think that's where we kind of struggled. We struggled up front, but I think it stemmed from the midfield. Definitely not a Lobotka performance. He came out. He came out. Anguissa was totally the best player on the field. Even I thought, though, at the last maybe quarter hour of the game, he was slowing down a bit, maybe getting a little, losing the ball a little bit, being a little too cautious. And there's reasons for that. But Zielinski, too, I mean, yeah, he had an okay game. I didn't really hear much from him in the second half. So the midfield was a little lacking to me this time around. I feel like if the midfield did a little bit better as a unit, this might have been a different outcome. But, Fiorentina were prepared. Fiorentina were definitely playing Napoli man-to-man instead of, like, zonal defense. They were man-to-man on these guys, and they figured out how to contain Napoli. And, listen, hats off to Italiano. He knows how to play against Napoli. He just does. He's one of those coaches that knows what to expect from a Napoli team, a Spalletti team, I guess. Before that, a Gattuso team. Like this team, he knows how to handle. He knows how to handle pressures too. So this for Fiorentina was their 3rd straight match without conceding. They've also not scored in.
They're not scored either.
Yeah, the Serie A game, the Conference League game in the midweek, and this game. They made it out of the Conference League qualifiers. They're in the group stage. They didn't need to score. They didn't. They made sure they didn't concede. And I think gaining a point against one of the best teams in the league, let's put it out there, Napoli, is a good result for them. But it was all in the man marking, in my opinion. I think they did it, like you said.
100%.
Amrabat did a very good job against Lobo, and their substitutions came in and took care of things too. So, hats off to them. It wasn't a terrible match. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a good game. I thought Napoli played as good as they could without having a sharp attack and midfield. And I thought Fiorentina were decent until they got up to the, final third. So in my opinion, the midfield could have done better, but there's going to be games like that. It's just going to happen.
Right. Just want to say hello to Pelican, new fan here. Hello, Pelican.
Fan.
Thank you
What's
for
up,
joining
my
us,
friend?
man. We appreciate it. I just want to go to a couple. Ralph, for the most part, I'm with you. I think it was really, really tough on them. Fiorentina, and Vincenzo Italiano did a great job just choking the midfield, choking Lobotka. And again, somebody said here, like, started. It was about, and here, Carl Herbert said, Anguissa's yellow conditioned him for the whole match. And I agree. I mean, this guy played 90 minutes with a yellow card. I mean, there's plenty of times that I'm sure he wanted to go harder than he probably did, and didn't, because he didn't want to get kicked out the game. That's really tough for a player. And again, Lobotka, like, just suffocating him. They won't let him run. So,
and the referees weren't the greatest either, and I don't really like anymore to like blame the refs too much, because it's just such a cliche thing to do. You have a bad game, or you don't have a good enough game, you miss it on a point. It's easy to start blaming the referees, but I really do believe that this referee wasn't the greatest. He wasn't calling anything for Fiorentina at all. And then Napoli's first foul, which, don't get me wrong, Anguissa's foul warranted a yellow card. Watch the replay. Studs were up, hit the high part of the ankle. Total yellow card offense, but it was literally the first foul. I also would have been okay with him saying, "Yo, calm down. One more time I see that, even though it's early, you're getting a yellow card." You know what I mean? Instead, he pulls the card out right away. And it was another one of the matches. I don't think it was last week. It might have been the week before when we were together, Ralph, for the meet. Mm-hmm. Napoli's first foul was a yellow right away. I might have been Lobotka. I don't remember who it was. But anyway, the point is, what I'm trying to say is the referee was really not the best. He wasn't. There were a lot of fouls. That there were a lot of. He eventually started pulling the card out for Fiorentina, but there were a lot of times where he wasn't even calling fouls, and Spalletti had to get loud with the referee, and he ended up giving Spalletti a yellow. So, I think the team as a whole played a little conservative after that too. You don't want to risk getting a red card this early in the season, where teams are like right behind you, and then you have to go play Lecce and worry about suspensions. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think
what I'm afraid of a little
bit. Inconsistencies from the referee, just not a good game from them. Obviously the right call for the offside. There could have been an opportunity for a penalty, but at the same time, I don't really think that. There was. I think if he called a penalty, I would have been cool. I think it would have been understood by people. But at the same time, that handball in the box wasn't really on purpose. But who knows what the rule is now with these things? And right. Again, like I said, I just think
if it hits your body, it's your hand.
Yeah,
right. If it hits your body first to your hand, then it's not
right. And honestly, what happened was it hit. I think it hit. I forgot who went up for the header. Someone on our team. But he went up for the header. It hit off of him and like came down, bounced and hit his hand. But the referee was not good at all. So again, I don't like ref was horrible, but we got some very gracious calls too.
Calls as well.
Yeah. I think we did towards the middle and the end of the game. I think.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll see what happens, but now going towards the end of the game, Ralph, and about I think it was like the 61st minute when Spalletti started making some of his changes. He put on some of the new guys. He took off Zielinski and some of the others, but we're calling this one "What For Mation." Again, he did use 5 all subs. He started in the 61 minute. His last subs were Ndombele and Simeone in the 78th. We saw Elmas in there as well for Kvara. He did change his formation to a 4-2-3-1. I think that was the purpose of at least the first 2 subs with Elmas and Kvara, and Raspadori with Zielinski. Rafa, good move, bad move. Chat, good move, bad move. Listeners on the comments, good move, bad move, because I think this is such an important topic. We were all waiting for this 4-3-3 to come. We saw it the first 2 games. We scored our goals. Some people hate the 4-2-3-1. Some people love it, but what gives?
I'm all for what works, and I don't think we've trained enough with the 4-2-3-1 right now. Again, if Sassuolo just freaking let us take Raspadori off his hands, and we might have been able to practice a little more with the 4-2-3-1. Now, that being said, The substitutions for me, I thought it was the right thing to do to get these new players on. You have to get them integrated into the club. So putting on Raspadori was a smart move. And I think at that point, there's no other choice but to, go the 4-2-3-1 with him behind Osimhen for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We have to understand that Ndombele and Simeone both haven't had much training in the summer, as much anyway, as Raspadori. Raspadori not only trained with Sassuolo all summer long, but he played in Coppa Italia matches. He played in the first match against Juventus, and he's match fit for Napoli. Now the job is to integrate him into the squad and maybe figure out a 4-3-3 with him. Maybe work on the 4-2-3-1 and figure out. Ken said it. I saw it just now. We don't have a midfield for a double pivot because the double pivot works a lot with Fabian, so we have to get Ndombele integrated. Lobotka and Anguissa, I think, can do it, but it wasn't as good as Fabian when Fabian was in there. I don't know if the Fabian move, it doesn't matter. He's not playing, but Fabian apparently should be at PSG by now. I don't know what's going on with that. I haven't.
All the Photoshop pictures are out already, so I guess you know when Photoshop gets involved.
Yeah. Right? But the substitutions maybe could have come a little bit sooner. I think. They brought Raspadori on and I think it was Elmas together in the 61st.
In the 61st, right.
Which isn't bad. But then, you kind of waited, it was like subs every 10 minutes, I don't know.
The next one was Politano for Lozano in the 71st, and Ndombele and Simeone came on in the 78th, both for Lobo and Victor.
So the thing with Ndombele was what I saw of that match, which was not too much of the last 10 minutes. It was sort of like wrapping the family up or leaving for, the end of vacation. Mm-hmm. But when I saw Ndombele, I thought I saw someone who was really getting stuck in, sort of like giving a lot of, spunk to the midfield. But then he gets the yellow and he almost gives up a pass, or he gives up the ball that created a chance for Fiorentina, which was pretty bad. Simeone didn't get into his groove at all. And honestly, Politano coming in for Lozano is the move that everybody knew was going to happen. Is like for like. I'm still going to go out and say I'd like to see Politano start and then Lozano come off the bench, because most of the time when I see Lozano come off the bench, him and Osimhen really link up. Like a fresh Lozano in late in the game links up with Osimhen well, in my opinion. And that's, I said that before the season started. I want to see Politano start over Lozano just because of that. Has nothing to do with how I feel about either player. I like them both. Politano was getting into it, but one or two touches too much with the ball. He needs to get rid of the ball a little earlier. Same thing with Kvaratskhelia, honestly. He's got to, and he admitted this himself, he realizes a fault of his is keeping the ball too long. He's got to make moves a little bit faster. He's going to learn that as the season goes on in the new league. But Elmas on the wing, I mean, normally he does really well on the wing. But just it was all a miss. It was all a miss. Raspadori, however, really did impress me. He impressed me. He got a yellow, but he impressed me when it comes to coming in and creating a new energy for the team. So I think he played pretty well. Couple of really nice touches, good passes. But I kind of want to see him get in there as like an alternative to Osimhen at times. Maybe in a 4-3-3. But we also have Simeone. So this is good. We have depth. The depth is there. I just think that the three new acquisitions have got to integrate themselves a little bit better with the club, which they will do. Just trust me, they will be fine.
Right. I'm going to read out a couple calls. I kind of want to respond to this because, to be honest, now I was watching Napoli talk with Dom on his post game analysis, and there was one thing that I liked, that he said that when we got to the 4-2-3-1, we started seeing more counterattacking. Fiorentina got almost immediately after had 2-3 big chances, just rushing towards Meret with the ball. Again, obviously nothing was converted, but still, we saw that gap. It kind of gave us a little PTS from like last season, Rafa, as far as formation goes in the middle. And you can hear him kind of yelling at Anguissa. Anguissa wasn't really so much, I don't know, maybe because of the change of formation, the yellow card, his fatigue. I don't know what it was, but just wasn't quite into it.
At the end of the game.
Yeah, I would say towards like the 70th something minute, maybe when Ndombele got in. Yeah, towards the 75th minute, more or less. But in the beginning of that, I did see, I think Spalletti was just trying to take a risk to score a goal. You know, we said last time he was a little bit more conservative last year, trying to like hold a lead or a tie or what have you. I think this game, the purpose of that formation was to try to get a goal, was because we saw a lot more numbers forward. It's just we couldn't convert. Raspadori almost scored immediately. I think we had another chance as well, almost immediately.
Raspadori had that save. He had that ball saved by
Mr. Golini.
Goalkeeper Golini.
Golini the goalie. But so I don't mind it. I don't think we should be a one formation team. I think when when needed, having a second formation is a good thing, and the 4-2-3-1 is probably going to be that formation. We always see them fall back to a 4-4-2 on defense, which is like the defensive cousin of the 4-2-3-1. So
right.
I think all in all, it's okay. I actually don't mind it. It's kind of why Raspadori is there. Maybe he wants to take a central role. Ken Jaffredi was saying it earlier in the chat. So I'm not too mad at it, to be honest, but I just want to make sure we're not getting caught out there, you know, when we do things like this. But hats off to Fiorentina. He just had a really good game, man. And you know, I don't think hi, it's Antoinette. Hi.
Oh, so speak you mentioned cousin before. This is my cousin's account, Sofo Luca. He surprised me today with a visit to New York. He was in Florida, right?
Wonderful.
But he surprised me with a one-day visit. He's actually going back tomorrow. I get back to the shop. I get to cutting right away. And who walks in? This guy walks in. And I'm looking. And, guys, I can't really see with my glasses far. I need a new prescription. But here he comes with the sun glare. And I'm like, this looks like Luca in a Roma shirt. What's going on here? He came in a Roma shirt. He's wearing an old Roma. I said, and he comes in. And I'm like, son of a bee. This is my cousin Luke with a friggin' Roma shirt walking in. Anyway, Antoinette is his girlfriend. We've known the close family friends for a long, long time. So what's up, Antoinette? What's going on? How are you?
Ciao, Antoinette. Welcome to the show. So beast of the match, guys. Who it is? I'll give you all a second to catch up with us. I know a little delay in things. Who was your beast of the match, guys? On the audio or on the replay? Tell us in the comments. Let us know what you thought. We're about to tell you what we thought. We're gonna put it up here in a second.
It's a close one. It's a close one.
Tight, man. It was tight.
It was tight for me. It was tight for me. But it could have gone either way. So I let you pick it, Ralph. Yeah. So go right ahead.
All right, folks. Well, here it is. Beast of the match. You know, despite everything, it just had to be this man, Frank Anguissa, man. Certainly a beast. You know, helped on the offense, helped in the midfield, did all he can. He had some runs back on defense, Rafa, that probably stopped a couple goals. This man probably saved points for us, in my opinion. And he did it all in 90 minutes with a yellow card. He was trying out there. He really was. I think most of the midfield, I think Lobotka, again, he had a hard time. I think Kim had a great game as well. He got a Nami for BOM, but I'm giving it to Frank, Rafa. How do you feel about it?
So Frank was named man of the match with Foot Mob, and normally we tend to go against the man of the match. I think this is the second time we went for the man of the match this season so far out of 3. You know, and my next pick was Kim. I had a brief argument with myself over maybe considering Meret. Now, Meret was a 7.7 rating. He was the next closest best rating besides Anguissa. And then Kim came in with a 7.5. I just think Kim's game was a little quiet. Like I mentioned, quietly, he had a great game. I think Anguissa's determination, winning the ball is huge for me. Winning the ball back or winning the ball at any point. Like I said, towards the end, he lost the ball a little bit. I think he was tired. I think he was very mentally tired too. You have to go all game, taking it easy with a yellow card, but he gave it his all despite that. He's still careful, but he gave it his all carefully. So, in my opinion, I think this was the right call. Anguissa, beast of the match. And honestly, if you have a guy like this in your midfield, he's definitely a gem. He's proven it time and time again in the very short time he's been with us, 1 season plus, and made an impact right away. As we all know, he made an impact in this game too. So beast of the match, Anguissa for me.
Yeah. Same here. Love it, guys. Love it. I know some people can't be man of the match, in my opinion. Yeah, and it's our opinion.
I think he meant Medet because the first comment he before that comment he said Medet had yeah.
Okay.
So well, I think that dropped.
Oh, was it a response? All right, disregard. I'm insecure now because everybody's like, "Hey, I thought you didn't pick man of the match for beast of the match." We don't. We try not to. We try to give it to somebody. But to be honest, just like the first game, Laboca just working hard, man. Like he earned man of the match as well, but he was also a beast. He beasted it out there. Sometimes you get all these like the goal scorers usually get man in the match. Somebody scores 2 goals or whatever, and his ratings get boosted, so they get the MOM. And then the guy who is doing all the work somewhere, cleaning up on defense or facilitating passes, they never get any love, so they become our beast. But the thing is, these past 2 games, the man of the match was also the beast of the match, and it's just kind of the way it worked out. We try not to do it, but yeah, he was man of the match for a foot mob at the very least, but he was our beast of the match just off the strength of everything that he did on that field. I just thought he was the best player out there, man, like all around. All right, but now, so we got our main rant coming up, guys, and it's an emotional topic. We'll try to do our best to stay level-headed, but it was the name of our show today. It was Upside Down and Inside Out. Part of it's kind of a 2-part rant. Part of it was the whole Ronaldo fiasco and all the talk that's going on the market with Osimhen and $100 million and Ronaldo's salary, yada, yada, yada. Plus, some of the images that we saw from the game. This is our second game now in 3 that basically, Napoli has to deal with some discriminatory things. And I believe Joe Fischetti reported on his Forza Napoli press that in fact Fiorentina was fined another $15,000 for religious religious chants or something like that, and discriminatory chants.
It was towards, I don't know if that was the same thing, but it was, I know that they were chanting towards Spalletti's mother. Something towards Spalletti's mother, where it riled him up. They were on him the whole game, and at the end of the game, he went out to one of the Daspo, I guess, of the Fiorentina fans, and or the Fiorentina, one of the ultras groups, and they had a really intense face-to-face where a little while, while during it, Spalletti had a bottle thrown at him, and then the ultra went to, slap Spalletti in the face. He threw a hand.
Crazy. It's crazy.
And he should not only be banned. Fiorentina caught a slap in the wrist with the fine, but he should be banned from that stadium for a long time. You don't go trying to attack a player, coach, anybody that doesn't belong. Anybody that belongs on the pitch, a fan shouldn't approach to try to attack. That's just absolute no for me.
No,
I don't care who you are. You shouldn't be allowed in there. But yeah, as far as the religious chants go, I'm not too sure what happened with that. But it doesn't surprise me. Fiorentina fans are not, they for some reason, as much as we both have in common that we can't stand Juventus, they don't regard us either. So I don't really care about Fiorentina or their fans. They're all it's trash. It's terrible, and there's no
Yeah.
room in the sport for it. There's none.
Right. Like, thank you for La Bistecca Fiorentina, but the rest of y'all can fuck off.
Yeah.
No, I didn't like it. I didn't. I mean, why are you talking about somebody's mother? I mean, like, why doesn't like any people say like we're so sensitive to things, but meanwhile, all these chants, like no other team experiences this except for Napoli. Like, what other team gets ragged on about the coach's mother? None. And then religion, and then natural disasters that should kill our population. Or this, what was it, Spezia versus, was it Salernitana, Rafa?
Yeah, no, it was Spezia Sassuolo.
Sassuolo, I'm sorry. Starting, we're not even there. Like, jump off, man. Jump off, Italy. Jump off. 3 games in a row. Napoli's just getting shitted on by everybody. What did we do? Like, what did we do to hurt your feelings? Are you just mad? Are you jealous? Because let's keep it real. Napoli is in the conversation now. Napoli isn't, and they hate it. And Serie A hates it. Italy hates it. They hate the fact that the Southern team is actually doing something. Because Rome ain't shit. Lazio ain't shit. Sassuolo ain't shit. But Napoli is. So, I don't know. Call it jealousy. Call it ignorance. Call it whatever you want. But it's stupid. I mean, first game, come on. We're getting monkey noises at Victor. And then our fans are getting mobbed and harassed on the streets. And then the Spezia game, we're getting chants against us. We're not even there. Now we come to Fiorentina. Our coach is getting slapped, getting a bottle thrown at them. They talk about their mother. They have these religious things. Now they're getting fined. That's 3 games in a row, boys and girls. 3 games in a row. Brescia talks about COVID against us. Fucking all the other teams talk about natural disasters. What other chant? Tell me, please. Tell me. What other chant? What other team chants about a natural disaster or people dying or just anything that's not about football? Like, what other team experiences this but Napoli? I don't get it. Like, stop it. It's pathetic.
I think the only other team that experiences it in Italy is Torino with the Superga tragedy. The plane that killed the whole Torino team, that big 40s Torino team that won a bunch of Scudetti, and a lot of them were Italian national team players. I think I mean, listen, I've seen it, so I'm not going to say I think, I know. But it's an occurrence for Juventus to go ahead and diss them using the Superga tragedy, which is pretty. It's like pot calling the kettle black, because a lot of fans, they get mad when fans talk about Heysel, which was a terrible tragedy, terrible. But it's just, there's no place for it again in the game. There's no place for it at all. I don't condone it, and I hate it. There was either Lazio beat Inter this weekend 3-1, and there was that graphic that someone put up with the Lazio player.
Oh, yeah, like a dog. It was a Grand Theft Auto
leash. Yeah, the collar with Lukaku's head on it. And
yeah,
just anti, and that's racism. What's going on with Napoli is territorial discrimination. I'm not going to say it's as bad as racism, but it's a problem. It's a problem, and obviously it's a problem in Italy for the league to go ahead and continue to fine teams. Now, when is enough going to be enough? It's just like, I think, like you said on the tweet today, it's going to be it's the league making money off of teams who are doing it. So all they do is slap them on the wrist with this fine, and they make money. So everybody's happy.
They don't
take points. They don't
care. They're all the same. Even the FIGC, man.
It's all the same thing.
They're just as bad. I'm sorry.
And what's this with the fan with the upside, like the inside out Napoli?
The young, that could have been 12 years old. I don't even know. Made her, I guess, flip her jersey inside out because she was sitting presumably next to a family member, maybe her father, who was a Fiorentina fan, but she had a Napoli fan on. So I don't know. I mean, is it that bad? Is it that bad that some fucking Goomba had to come up to a 12-year-old little girl and tell her, hey, flip your jersey around because we don't support Napoli here? I mean, like,
now
get over it.
That's just bad parenting, honestly. And here's the thing.
Rafa, listen, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me just cut you off right there. The bad parenting, maybe. But let me tell you, if that guy's life was threatened by some fucking delinquent ultra, I would have told my daughter, flip your jersey. But at the same time, I probably would have never put my daughter into that situation in the first place. You know what kind of environment that is. You're going to bring a 12-year-old with a Napoli jersey in that environment. You can expect some backlash. So
yeah, but it's not.
For that respect, it's bad parenting. But
no, see, and I don't agree. I don't agree there, Ralph, because I don't mind bringing my kid who's a Yankee fan to a Mets game. You know what I'm saying? I got a kid who's with me as a Met fan. I have a kid who's a Yankees fan. So I don't mind doing that. But at the same time, we are talking about different environments. But yes, there are fights. A lot of times when we go to Philly, we like to go to Philly. The second leg of our trip was in Philly. We went to a Phillies game. I hate the Phillies. But guess what? We love Philadelphia. We love going to the sports games. They're very cheap. And we have a good time. So, you have to see the amount of and the first time I was ever in Philly, I wanted to go to a Mets game because it was Mets Phillies in Philly. I had my Met hat ready to go. Allie was like, "No, it's not happening. We're not going to a game where you're going to cheer the Mets and we're going to get killed." Right. Not for nothing, but at that game, there were so many players. There were so many fans with Mets hats. We went to the Phillies against the Pirates. There were tons of fans with Pirates shirts on. There were people walking side by side, Phillies, Pirates. So over here, it's a little different. I get it over there too, but I have seen environments where fans of two different teams, two kids wearing different opposing jerseys, are sitting side by side and having a great time. There's no reason why he should have made her turn her shirt inside out. If he's going to protect her, then he needs to protect her and forget about the fact that he's a Fiorentina fan and respect the fact that she's a Napoli fan and protect her in other ways. No, don't turn your jersey inside out. How does that make it any less noticeable that this is a Napoli? If I turn this jersey around inside out right now and someone turns our rant on right this second, are they going to be like, "Huh, that Napoli shirt is inside out. Oh, it's still a Napoli shirt. What is that doing?"
Rafa, I'm sorry, but that we're missing a piece to the story here. There's no way. Listen, the girl, if that's her dad, let's just assume that was her dad. They went out the house together. He knew very well she was wearing this jersey. I'm sure he didn't say, "Hey, listen, Fiyami, please turn off. If you want to wear that jersey, you got to turn it upside down." I highly doubt that a father said that to his daughter. It could be possible that maybe the father's from Tuscany, maybe her mother's Napolitan. We don't know that. People get married all over the place, and she, for some reason or another, is a fan of Napoli. Maybe her nonno brought her to a game one day. I don't know. But let me tell you, shit like that is dirty delinquents telling that little girl. I'm telling you right now. And let me tell you, Napoli isn't always the innocent with some of these things either, because I was in Curva B one day and I saw a little kid with a sign, holding up a sign, and he was a Napoli fan. I don't know what it was. And an ultra turned around and told him, put down the sign. Little kid, probably 10, 11 years old, who just wanted to, put up his little banner there, and they made him take it down. They treat the kids like shit. They don't care. They feel like they're in charge. I'm telling you, at least I feel that somebody went up to this little girl and her father was like, "Tell your daughter to flip," or maybe it was before they got in. I don't know. They're assholes, and said, "Make sure if your daughter's going to wear that, you need to flip it inside out." It was a statement. It was a power move. And they did it to an 8-year-old, according to what somebody said here. So it's just a sad bad look on national TV. On national TV, man. Just bad. Feel bad for that little girl, man. I hope they give her season tickets or something. Jeez. But let's move on, because I'm tired of talking about these dirt bags, man.
Let's finish up.
Ronaldo. All of a sudden, it's like, I don't know how I feel about this, man. I'm kind of happy with the team. All of a sudden, you throw Ronaldo in the mix, and boom, another thing to divide us once again. It's just like we just couldn't where was Navas, and we were done.
Yeah, we can't just have a serene, everyone's together, everyone's happy, because this is dividing the fans again. It is. It's always something to divide them. You got ADL haters questioning why he's coming. You got ADL lovers question why he's coming. He's not even coming. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Reports today said that he's not coming. I am relieved that he's not coming. I was very back and forth with this, but my final stance on Ronaldo, Ralph, is this. Okay?
Yes.
I don't care what Mario Ruiz says. I know he knows Cristiano Ronaldo a lot better than I do.
Sure.
He says that he's a fan of Ronaldo and that he would be well liked in the locker room and he would only contribute to this team. I highly disagree with that, even though he's there and I'm just Rafa from Saratoga Springs. But that being said, the amount of money that would come our way in this entire deal. Now, again, initially, the idea was Napoli sell Osimhen to Manchester United for like 120 euro. We get Ronaldo for a 2-year loan, and they pay
like 80% or something along those lines.
Yeah, or it was like they pay 100%. I think at 120 they wanted. The ADL wants Manchester to pay his full wages, like just get him off the team, which obviously is not going to work. So ADL came back and said, okay, then 140, and I'll pay 20% of the wages because with the extra 20 mil, I can afford to do that for Ronaldo for 2 years. Pay because like 30% is 10 million, right?
Right.
Now. Initially, my thought was Ronaldo comes into this team. He's older. Yeah, he's still regarded as one of the best players in the world, obviously. He's going to gain a lot of attention, obviously. He's going to sell a lot of shirts, obviously. But he's also going to bring in these fair weather plastic Ronaldo fans that were Juve fans 2 years ago, that were new Manchester United fans because he went there, that are going to be MLS team, insert MLS team here, probably Inter Miami, fans when he leaves Napoli, that don't care about the team, that will buy the shirt and wear it because it says Ronaldo. And this is a fact, guys. I went to WrestleMania 35 in New Jersey. There was a Juventus shirt floating around with Ronaldo 7 on it. And I went up to the guy and said, Forza Napoli sempre. He turned around and looked at me like I had 7 heads, had no idea what I was talking about. He was just wearing it because it was Ronaldo. And let's just say he wasn't an Italian. Let's just say that, okay? So I don't want that in my club, A. And B, I don't want his prima donna, selfish, crybaby, whiny abs on this team. I don't want it. Plus, where's he going to go? Is he going to be our striker? Because we're going to sell Osimhen, right? Where's he going to go? I don't want him playing for Kvara on the left. I don't want him playing on the right. I don't want him in the striker position. I just don't want him.
He's not a central striker, man.
I don't want him on the team. That's that. Okay. Now, here's where I kind of turn, right? Consider the fact that Ronaldo made Juventus better because he was the only person on the team doing anything, right? He leaves Juventus and they're in shambles, right? It's a totally different situation with us. If we do sell Osimhen and get that money in, plus are only responsible for a fraction of his wages, and if we do win something with Ronaldo and he leaves, or even if we don't do something with Ronaldo and he leaves, we're in a much better situation than we were when he left Juve. Much better. Not only do we have a better team around Ronaldo, but we've got money. We've got, means to replace and improve the team on everything, all around. The club improves with the money for Osimhen. Now, again, it includes an Osimhen sale. And I don't want Osimhen to leave. I don't want him to go. I don't want him to go next year. There's a lot of talk about, Bayern Munich's going to buy him next year because they don't have an out-and-out striker. They need one. They'll come up with the money, blah, 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 blah. Fine. I respect that. But for some reason, I feel like all this saving money on the payroll is going to lead to an extension for Kvaratskhelia and hopefully an extension for Osimhen. And I'm hoping that this season in the Champions League, he does really well with Napoli and so good to say, you know what? I'll take the extension and the more money. The problem
Why not?
is bigger teams are going to offer him more money. We'll offer him something. They'll offer him more. So he's probably going to go. So it's a very vicious cycle for me. The bottom line is I don't want to ruin the chemistry of this team right now. And what if he comes and we don't win anything? Then what? Like, ADL will be ridiculed forever, no matter what. So I don't know. I'm very torn about it. But at the end of the day, I don't want him. He's practically a rapist, and I will say that, and not have any apologies about saying that.
Hey,
the freaking guy
people agree
pretty
with you
much
here.
he admitted to it almost. So I'm not down with that. And I realize that a lot of news articles and news, like, Napoli content are trying to gain clicks by Ronaldo. That's going to generate clicks, and it sucks. But at the end of the day, it's news, and we should report on it, and we should talk about it. But then there's the fact that, and this is public knowledge now, so I can out my source.
Mm-hmm.
Oma Akatugba, I DM'd him, and he told me before he went on any program that Victor hasn't heard a thing from anyone. And as far as Victor knows, he's playing on Napoli in the Champions League this season. So when he DM'd me that was my, okay, breathe. This is not happening moment. Then he goes on I forgot what it was, Calcio Napoli 24 or 24, whatever news outlet it was. He went on their show and basically reiterated what he told me in the private DM.
Right.
He's not coming. I feel like that. I feel like ADL's way of politely saying thanks but no thanks to Mendes, Man United, and whoever was involved was, okay, we're not looking to sell Victor Osimhen, but if you want him, this is what I want. If you don't want to pay that, then thanks and I'll see you later. So there you go. That's my rant.
Love it, Rafa. We'll see what happens, man. I'm not going to add too much to that. I think, again, whatever's best for the team, whatever. I like what Ken could be our EBITDA. Whatever the administration decides, I'll be okay. Certainly, I don't want to lose Victor per se right now. I understand the value of bringing Ronaldo like that, but it does bring baggage. It does bring a spotlight. And can Napoli handle that? I don't know. They just need to tweak a few things right now and get their shape and their form, and they'll be fine. They
can't handle putting names on the back of kits right now. How are they going to handle doing Ronaldo's name on back of kits? Come on.
Their press machine is going to go on fire. But let's get a big Forza Napoli Sempre going in the chat, guys. I'll put on a little bit of closing music, man.
And Pasquale, where is Navas? What's going on with that, man?
What's
going on with Navas, man?
I'm sure. Well, we're gonna do our part 2 as are we better off coming up soon. We're waiting for this market to end, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that. Who came, who didn't came.
The Mercato ends on the first.
Like a couple days, right?
6:00 p.m. Eastern on the 1st. The market is over, and that is when I will give my 1 to 20. I'm not giving my 1 to 20 before Mercato's over. It's not happening. I'm giving it when the Mercato closes. That's when I'm giving mine. And maybe I'll read it off when we do our part 2. Are we better off?
Maybe, guys.
Ralph,
thank you
maybe
so
you
much.
Do, maybe you do one. Maybe you do
1 to 20?
1 to 20. Yeah.
Ralph and Ralph's 1 to 20?
Yeah, man.
Man, that's gonna be tough, man. It's so tough this year, man. It is so tough. But I like that. That's what I kind of like about the season. I mean, look, like we already put up that stat since 2012, 2013. We team didn't get 100% this year. A lot of people, listen, the bookies came through with their stupid ass numbers. Thank you, Salvador. We love you back. But we all knew that wasn't a great look. Guys. But we'll see what happens. I just want to make sure I get everybody in here, Rafa. Got a game this Wednesday against Lecce, right?
Lecce
at home.
This Wednesday at home, 2:45 Eastern. Lecce this weekend, and then Saturday at 2:45 on the road to Lazio. By then, the Mercato will be over, so we'll know our complete squad. And I think by then, we will have a UEFA squad to hand in as well, because that's coming up quick. I think that's midweek after Lazio, to be honest with you.
Nope. I think so. But anyway, until then, guys, thank you for joining us. Rafa, great show as always. Thank you to the chat. Thank you to all our audio listeners from the Far From Vesuvius podcast. We love y'all. But until then, Forza Napoli sempre, guys. Ciao, ciao.
Sempre. Ciao, ciao.